In terms of blowing it, I 100% blew it off the charts today in terms of missing out on an absolutely beautiful setup. The type of setup that comes around maybe every, few weeks, maybe once a month. This setup was so perfect, and I absolutely blew it. I'm going to break it down right here in this video, day trading live on YouTube, and absolutely blowing it today. Let's go. So first things first, we knew, number one, that the SPY was opening up today with a gap in the SPY. So that gap was right here, right? The SPY opens up. We're up here at the 402s. We have that gap in the SPY. So my idea here was we are looking for a short. We're going to get below the pivot point here at the 477 level, and we are looking to fill that gap down here. So really the gap was like right here at the 399. So we are looking for a move from the 400s to really, not that big of a move down, 399. The market moved all the way down there to 396.66, which is obviously painful to look at now, but let's not even worry about this. Let's just talk about what we knew at open. We knew that gap was there. We talked about the idea of getting that gap fill very, very vividly, talking about it on the live stream. So this is not just me in hindsight, making this like, oh, well, yeah, I could have shorted here. No, this was a real legitimate plan and a trade as we were actually looking to get the trade. So taking a look here at the 3-minute chart, how beautiful was this setup this morning, right? How absolutely beautiful. We got denied at the 30s, 32, 34 area, whatever. The market pulls back, right? This was the setup we were looking for. I'm going to explain why this setup was so good. We're using the Lux Algo indicator suite here. And if we go to the side, we see that PDH, that's the previous day high. The previous day high from yesterday that's identified here on the Lux Algo app. You can see right there on Wednesday, that was the high of day there at the 25s before we sold off. So we knew that 25 level. I talked about it. I was like, 25's going to be the battleground area. If we get below 25, it's going to be a short, and we're going to get a move down to that pivot point. We had a pivot on the ES here on the 15-minute chart. We had a pivot right there at the 20s, and then a pivot all the way down here at the 03s. So we talked about that 03 level kind of being our target here with the pivots. So we had a pivot there, a pivot here, and we're basically looking to break below and then get down there to that level on the 15-minute chart, as you can see. The 15-minute chart showing beautifully just nothing but sell, 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 all the way down there to the 76s, 78s now. And right now the market trying to bounce back up here a little bit. But in general, that 15-minute chart just so clearly moving down in this channel here. So as that was setting up the 15-minute chart, you can see again, we had that previous day high right there, that 25 level. That 25 level acted as what? It acted as resistance there. And that would have been really the opportunity to get short and make a beautiful short trade there. So when we look at the 3-minute chart here, if we see how this plays out, you see what happened here. I talked about it literally like I said during the live stream here. The idea was basically we're going to break below that 25, and then we wanted to be getting short into this level here, 23, 24, 25. I originally did get short. I was short here. We got short, I think, 23, 24s. We had a move down here, 17s. I took some profit off. We pushed back up there. At this point, I started arguing with somebody in the chat. I don't know what it was. I was going off about something, and I was like just literally talking about whatever was going on with the chat. I was talking about it, and totally a bad idea. So I missed out on this move right here. We push up the 25s, we get stuck, and then look at how beautifully this starts to sell off. And then we were just down there to the 03. So at this point, I'm like, well, I'm not going to fucking chase it. I'm not going to short down here where my original target was with that pivot point. We did push back up here. I was hoping for a little bit more of a push back up into that 12s. We didn't get the push back up, and look at how this thing just sold off all the way down here to the 76s. From the 25s down there to the 74s now. Obviously, I probably would have taken profit along the way here. I mean, I would have totally taken profit there at the 03s, no doubt about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh, I would have made all this money getting that move down there. But this right here, I mean, that should have been the 20-point move right there. I mean, that was just I should have, coulda, shoulda, woulda, houlda, you know, all those things. But that should have been, you know, just such an easy trade for me. That low down there, 75. Guess what? We pushed back up there. The previous day low again, turn that into resistance there. You can see how these previous day lows, previous day highs turn into resistance, support, things like that. And and you can see here right now, pulling back there 75. So, you know, the setup was very clear. We saw on the SPY, we had that gap fill potential, you know, basically breaking below this here, getting a move down here. I mean, the gap fill was boom, boom, boom. It's right there. Beautiful. We knew the gap fill was there. We knew we had resistance there at the previous day high. Everything was like perfectly lined up for this to move. And we just totally blew it. We just did not capitalize off of that move there. And well, here we are. Now, in hindsight, I'm upset with myself. I'm mad because, like I said, this is the type of setup that only comes around every once in a while. Everything played out beautifully. We had the gap fill. We had the previous day high turning into resistance. We got stuck there at the 30s. I mean, everything was lining up perfectly. We got below the VWAP. I mean, everything was spot on. Like, it just, you don't get a better setup than this. Now, you might say, well, why wouldn't you short lower? You know, and I'm like, well, my problem is I missed out on the 30-point move right there, and am I really going to be like trying to short down here at the bottoms? You can see the market just kept going lower and lower, but still I was just like, I don't really want to short down here at the bottom because I know what's going to happen. The minute that I get short, this thing's going to pop back up. So at the end of the day, what you guys are seeing here on YouTube is the real deal. We're going through it. We're trying to make money. We're trying to make things happen. I'm putting pressure on myself to perform. You know, I want to wake up in the morning. I want to crush the markets. I want to do what I have to do to make money, right? Like, I don't want to be doing stupid shit. Today, a perfect example of that, you know, perfect example of today was my setup. Today was everything perfectly lined up. Like, that was a textbook, A++++ setup. And why did I not take it? You know, I was distracted with the chat. I took the first setup, got stopped out, and then I was looking at the chat and I wasn't focused on the chart. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. Am I making excuses here? No, I'm making the point that, like, when those opportunities show up, when we have a setup like we saw today, when everything is lining up, you gotta be able to capitalize and get those big moves. Today was a absolutely mental move, you know, over 40, 50 points today on this move down. So coulda, shoulda, woulda, obviously, but at the same time, I need to tell myself, like, I need to put myself, like, punish myself, right? Like, Patrick, you cannot afford to miss out on those types of moves. Like, I just can't afford to miss out on those types of setup. When that setup is that good, it's right there, everything is lining up perfectly, like, I've got to be able to capitalize. If I'm not capitalizing on those types of setup when everything is fucking lining up perfectly, well, I'm just going to blow it. Like, I'm just doing stupid shit. Like, why? You know, it's just super frustrating because there's days where we don't get any good setups and I end up over trading, or I try to force trades and then I don't take a trade on a day like today. I'm not in a trade on a day like today when the fucking market's getting murdered. Like, what are you doing, Patrick? Wake up. You gotta fucking wake up. So there's my rant of the day. Absolutely blowing it. You know, it's just, it is what it is. That's literally all I can say at this point. It's frustrating. It's hard. You know, I'm showing you guys the battle that we go through, the FOMO, the emotion. It's real. It's very, very real, my friends. Very, very real. So there it is. The recap that nobody wanted, but you got it anyway. Talk to you guys later on.